The production of silk had originated in ancient China and India. The art of silk weaving is believed to have begun around 2640 BC, and it was the Chinese merchants who had spread the silk garment and its practice to other parts of Asia. In Thailand, some archaeologists have discovered at Ban Chiang archaeological site of silk practice over 3,000 years ago. Thai silk is considered Thailand's cultural heritage, being passed from generation to generation. Each silk fabric is not only exquisitely beautiful and reflects the true identity of each region, but also tells the story of the people in each locality in terms of their culture, tradition, lifestyle, and wisdom. The production process begins with growing mulberry, whose leaves are fed to silkworms. Mulberries can be grown in all parts of Thailand, although ideally it should be the areas with rich sandy loam, better irrigation, and away from toxic sources or industrial factories. Varieties with high resistance to diseases and drought tolerance should be selected. The varieties popular in Thailand include Buriram 60, Nakhon Ratchasima 60,ศรีสะเกษ 84, and Sogol Nakhon varieties. Now that we have its food, let's get to know the silkworm's lifestyle. Generally, the life cycle of the silkworm takes around 41 to 51 days from egg to silkworm moth. The egg hatches within 10 to 12 days into a tiny silkworm and goes to munching on the mulberry leaves as soon as it leaves the egg. The silkworm larval life has 5 instars, including the first instar, second instar, third instar, fourth instar, and fifth instar. The period lasts 20 to 25 days. After that, the larva will stop eating the mulberry and appear slightly and transparently yellow, called mai sup, or ripe silkworm. In this stage, the silkworm starts spinning itself in an oval-shaped silk cocoon. This process lasts 5 to 7 days before the worm within the cocoon turns into a moth and emerges as an adult that's ready to mate and lay eggs. To get the silk thread, the cocoon must go through the process of silk reeling to the desired size. The cocoon is boiled in hot water for about 5 to 10 minutes to loosen the threads. Then a stick is used to stir, and strands from cocoons are joined together and spun into thread. Cocoons of 7 to 10 kilograms produce about 1 kilogram of silk yarn and is woven into a fabric of 5 meters. The silk yarn from a process of silk reeling is rough because of the silk glue called saracen that covers it. Before we use it, it should be removed by washing and degumming, or being cleaned with alkaline water. The silk yarn in the final process will be a white color, soft and shiny, and ready for the dyeing process. Most of the dyes are obtained from natural resources of the immediate surrounding, offering an exquisite palette of different hues, as well as being harmless to both makers and users, and environmentally friendly. Silk yarn can be dyed in 2 ways. Hot dyeing that involves dye being extracted by boiling, and cold dyeing without boiling involved, such as indigo. The natural dye is mostly done by hot dyeing. When the dye is boiled in hot water, thoroughly wetting the silk yarn in it, the yarn is then immersed in a dye bath. It's then rinsed and dried to get the desired color. Before weaving, the dyed silk yarn must be spun into a spool to be a weft yarn. The warp yarn must also be set on a loom. How it works is by putting the warp yarn in between a weft yarn, or simply called takat, or plain weave. Patterns can be divided into 3 groups. First, patterns created by weaving techniques like weft brocade, discontinuous supplementary weft, and continuous supplementary weft. Second, patterns created before weaving by preparing the yarn, such as ikat. And third, patterns created after weaving, such as tie-dyeing and printing. Each locality may have different types of patterns, designs, and colors depending on their belief, tradition, culture, and wisdom, that are passed from generation to generation, all of which results in Thai silk being accepted as a high-quality, beautiful silk fabric and reflecting the true identity of Thailand.